Hello, true duelists. My name's Craig Fee, and welcome to the New Card Report. We've received our first look at a new archetype from the Infinite Forbidden, and what may just be the start of the Year of Light, following the abundance of fire cards that we've received over the last year. And what better way to kick off the Year of Light than with a new Engine First type deck, or at least that's what I'm assuming, because I wrote this part of the script before anything else, before I'd even read a single card. And I guess now we get to find out how right or wrong I was. Spoiler alert, I fucking nailed it. Fiendsmith is the name of the deck, and the lone main deck monster is the Fiendsmith, fitting for the Infinite Forbidden. This level 6 light fiend has 1800 attack and 2400 defense with 3 effects and some once per turns galore. The first will let you discard this to add any Fiendsmith spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and if it's in your graveyard, you can special summon this out by shuffling one other light fiend from your grave back into your deck. And what does it do other than be Beatrice fodder on the field exactly? Well, it'll let you target a Fiendsmith equip card you control and one monster on the field and send them both to the grave. It does target, but it doesn't destroy, so it's not too bad. All things considered, really. And if nothing else, it has a pretty free body independent of the on-the-field effect. It's just a level 6 fiend that can come out. I also don't know definitively that this will just be Beatrice fodder, but someone probably will be using it for Beatrice at some point, so I'm not really abandoning that joke. And by joke, I mean simple fact. Beyond that, it's a searcher of sorts, so it's going to see play for that alone, and it's also Anime Boy number 4012, so that's pretty cool. An Anime Boy with the big ass thing on its back, big ass backpack. That's cool. Fiendsmith Lacrimosa could be the name of an alcoholic beverage, but instead it's mainly just the name of this level 6 light fiend fusion with 2400 attack and defense. The fusion materials are any 2 light fiend monsters, and on fusion summon it can target a light fiend in your grave or banishment and either add it to your hand or summon it out to your field. And if it itself is sent to the grave, you can shuffle one other light fiend monster from the grave back into the deck and burn for 1200, and win in time. Maybe. Both of these effects are hard once per turns and are accompanied by a continuous on-field effect to make it so the opponent's monsters lose 600 attack, which is fancy. It's a solid little bit of recovery or extension depending on what it is you're doing, and an option to show that you are truly skilled in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! By summoning it, linking it off, and boom, you've now won in time. The debuff is also fine. More damage dealt to the opponent isn't irrelevant. It's not like it's never going to come up that you can beat over things with a little more ease. What will come up mostly is the fact that there's an eyeball on the guy's gun? I guess the backpack is a gun? I don't know. It's a Fusion Anime Boy number 4013. And it has a gun. That's the big difference. That's like half my videos, isn't it? Like, I don't know. Maybe it's a backpack. Maybe it's a who knows. It's just that's what constitutes fusion monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh these days. Is just to hold a gun. I'm sorry. Did I say that thing was a gun? Well, truth be told, I lied because it's clearly an axe, as is depicted on the artwork of Fiendsmith Dies Irae. Fuck it. This one is a level 9 light fiend with 2800 attack and 2400 defense that'll need the Fiendsmith as fusion material as well as 2 other light fiend monsters. And it has a quick effect to negate face-up card effects on the field until the end phase. Just boom boom. We're talking like Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss style. Just negate a face-up card. The catch is you can do it to a number of cards up to the number of total link ratings of the link monsters equipped to it. So if you have a link 1 and a link 2, the total link rating is 3 and you'd be able to negate 3 cards. How crazy! More of that equip nonsense, or as it's better known, archetypal theming. This does have a grave effect as well. If it's sent to the grave, it'll shuffle a light fiend from the grave into the deck to target a card on the field and send it to the grave, which is pretty reasonable as boss monsters go, provided equipping links to this is easy enough, and also summoning this 3 material fusion monster is easy enough. A quick effect multiple negates potentially, including say face-up spell or traps, isn't a bad thing, and if the opponent manages to get rid of it, you can disrupt their board, you can send something away. What doesn't make sense is the lack of feet on this card. You heard it right, folks. Craig Feet wants to know where them toes at. As in, how does this thing stand? Are his legs just bent at an angle where you can't see? Like, what is going on here? It's like the shittiest General Radon parody conceivable. Who fucking knows? Fiendsmith Requiem is the link 1 for the deck, and what I've been calling the backpack. You won't believe it, it's a light fiend. It also has a down pointing arrow and 600 attack, and will need any one light fiend monster for link material, and can only be special summoned once per turn. All that Yu-Gi-Oh clauses right up at the front. The actual effect is during the main phase. It can quick effect Lone Fire itself, attributing it away to summon any one Fiendsmith monster from your deck or hand if you're truly bricked up. It can also target a non-link light fiend you control and equip this card to it from either your field or graveyard as an equip spell that'll give it 600 attack. So the fusion at least has a very easy equip access, because on-demand access Lone Fire isn't a bad thing. Plus it'll give it 600 attack, so it's like a 3400 attack boss monster instead of a 28 one. As for this thing, it's on-demand Lone Fire. Like, it's decent, if nothing else. Plus, if you summon out the Fiendsmith, you can equip it with this in the worst of cases to then use Fiendsmith's effect to pop it and another card. So, like, there's debate, if nothing else there, but not bad, not bad. Nor am I complaining about the eye, because I'm not complaining. It's kind of weird having the eye there. I don't know exactly what's going on or what I'm looking at, but I'm not complaining about it. Fiendsmith Sequentia is the deck's link 2. Say it with me, a late fiend. But this one has 1200 attack and down pointing arrows, down left, down right. And also will need any 2 monsters as material, including 1 light fiend monster, which is crazy because that's like fucking the dark approaches or whatever. The darkness end on the card. That's a really old card on the art, isn't it? Or like the level 4 version? I don't know. It's crazy. It's a reference, and therefore it's nostalgia baiting, and therefore criticism. Keep doing your thing, Konami. Just keep referencing. I still enjoy it. I need blatant pandering. This one has 2 effects, the first being to fusion summon. And while you can only summon Fiend fusion monsters with its effect, you do so by shuffling materials from your grave back into your deck. So that is nice. And following the trend of the backpack, it can also target a non-link light fiend you control and equip it to it from your field or grave. The difference being that while this is equipped to a monster, that monster will become untargetable. That seems solid enough. It needs only 1 light fiend, so I'm pretty sure like Tour Guide can make this for freezies. And making your boss monster untargetable is pretty good, or so I'm told. Plus, like I said, it's a reference to the darkness and the light deck. Explain that. Magnets, dude, how do they work? Fiendsmith Tractus is a new normal spell that depicts the backpack eating a man who quite literally just had his ass kicked, and that's just something we all have to live with. It also will add a light fiend from deck to hand and then discard a card, and because modern ROTAs simply must do more, it also has the graveyard effect to banish itself and fuse a monster. It's just polymerization for a Fiendsmith fusion using materials from your hand or field. The first effect I saw, because everyone kept telling me that this is Fabled support, which is probably true, but I'm not one of the 4 people that plays Fabled, so I just have to take their word on it and assume they're not lying as I regurgitate that information to you. It probably does a lot for Fabled, but how much is that really saying? As for this deck or engine, it's solid, even if nothing else blatantly wants to be discarded. Like, even the Fiendsmith doesn't activate if it's discarded, it just discards to search. So that's interesting. Maybe you can tech this in with another light fiend deck, like Fabled, or a small Dark World engine, just to discard this, discard with this to proc other things, and to try and cheat out Centaur Grapha. It opens up options, is what I'm getting at, and offers fusion summons for the deck that has a fusion boss monster, so I like it. Fiendsmith Sanctus, meanwhile, is a quick play spell that I thought was a reference to Fires of Doomsday, but actually isn't. Its activated effect will require you to control no face-up monsters, or if you have face-up monsters, they must all be light fiends, and will summon a Fiendsmith token with 0 attack and defense, and an attribute and type I do not need to tell you. Doing this will lock you into only attacking with fiends for the rest of the turn, which is notable, and it also has a graveyard effect, because it can just set itself from your grave back onto your field if a Fiendsmith monster is controlled by your opponent, which is like continuous free link fodder of sorts, I guess. I don't think it's the craziest, bestest card, but it is pretty damn solid. And between this, the Link 1, and the Fiendsmith, you've gotten access to a free rank 6 by using this to summon out the level 6 from the deck, the Fiendsmith, linking it away for the Lone Firing into the level 6, and then shuffle the level 1 back into the deck to summon out the level 6 again, and then your 5th summon can be Caesar, the DDD King, or Beatrice, or whatever it is you like. So it's a 1-card free rank 6 play, which is nothing terrible. The last card we've seen from them is, of course, a trap card, Fiendsmith and Paradisium. This normal trap will target a level 7 or higher light fiend you control and then send all other cards on the field to the graveyard. Just a big ass board wipe. It also has the grave effect to banish itself from the grave if the opponent special summons a monster, and then send a Fiendsmith monster from the main or extra deck to the grave. This is cool because it blows up the whole board effectively, and it also shuts off your own goddamn boss monster in the same play, because you can only negate while the fusion has links equipped, and this will remove the links from the field, so effectively your boss monster will become a vanilla. And I'm just saying, it'd be a lot better if you could, you know, blow up their board and then also negate any follow-up they might have, other than like negate one thing and then blow up the board and then hope there's nothing more. Could be better is what I'm getting at. And while the grave effect is solid in terms of being a foolish burial or even possibly a way to send that level 6 fusion to burn for game in time, the reality is you're waiting on your opponent to special summon to be able to do that, and that just sucks. I don't want to have to wait for my opponent to let me make my plays. But you know what, at least some people might like the art in the binder. That's some cope. All in all, it's a pretty solid little engine. Clearly there's not enough to make a deck by itself, what with one main deck monster, but it definitely opens up a lot of potential for Fiend decks, light Fiend decks in particular. Fabled is apparently in love with that normal spell card if nothing else and can do plenty with it, and Magical Musketeers are a welcome fit as well. Kind of makes me wonder how well all this will tie into a Fiend Link deck, something that's been kind of rising, what with the release of the Unchained support from Duelist Nexus and even the Yubel support from Phantom Nightmare and Legacy of Destruction. It is worth noting that none of these cards actually have any sort of lock except for the quick play spell locking you into only attacking with Fiends, but that doesn't mean you can't link them into other things for other, you know, various purposes. It's not bad, okay? Like, granted, it's a little sticky because it wants light Fiends and there's only so many of that particular type and attribute, but there's room for exploration, regardless of whether or not it's in a dedicated Fiend Link a la Dragon Link or something else. Also, personally speaking, it's just nice to see that the links equip themselves to the fusions, because I swear half the time when Konami makes a gimmick like that, they just require like a continuous trap that requires the links to be equipped after they've been destroyed by an opponent's attacking monster or something stupidly specific and obnoxious. So just being able to plop them onto your fusions to properly play this deck/engine is really nice to see. And with the constant recycling of Fiends, you can maybe even get away with only playing like 2 of the Link 1, because you can just keep shuffling it back. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud here at this point, truthfully. All in all, it seems very promising, and watch it cause a spike in the price of something like Archfiend Eccentric or something stupid, just because Light and Fiend, and there's only so many things to hype up with that, people. As always, huge thanks and shoutouts to the LIFD Magnetic Display for supporting my channel, the #1 way to support me and the true Duelist approved way to realize that your cards are somewhat more in storage than you'd like them to be, and you only have that one binder to try and desperately fit the cards to match the video, so you just put the Summon Skull, they're Fiends. They're Fiends. Or maybe you just have actual cards you want to display, in which case, you know, do that instead. Either way, promo code YGOStrats15, type it into the checkout, click the link in the description, however you want to get to it, 15% off, and big thanks. So that'll be it for this. The regular update will be out on Friday as usual, and until then, I've been your host, Craig Fee, or Greg Feet, or whoever, who knows anymore, Identity Crisis. Thanks for watching, hit subscribe, and I'll see you next time on big YouTube channel. Nope. I don't know, I'll see you next time, that's it, fuck it, see ya.